VEGA technology to be used in Project Scorpio. Wait, what? AMD Vega news/leaks and the highly anticipated Project Scorpio, and boy does it look good. For all who don't know, Vega is a new high-end graphics card by AMD. It'll be based on the same 14nm technology as Polaris, the RX series. It will feature two different models, 4GB and 8GB, both running HBM2. Additionally, it'll feature the following specifications: 4096 stream processors, 64 NCUs, next compute units, 2048-bit memory bus, 512GB second memory bandwidth, 12 teraflops, which is pretty much 12 trillion floating operations per second, the higher the better, PCIe 3x16, and 225W TDP. A few things I would like to point out in regards to the specs of Vega: having a wider memory bus results in greater performance, which allows more data bandwidth to pass at the same given time. I thought I'd like to go into a bit more deeper and explain it. The memory bus has two parts, the data bus and the address bus. However, I will focus more on the data bus, and I quote, "The data bus is responsible for transfer of information between the memory and the chipset. The wider data bus is, the higher its performance, since it can allow more data to pass through in the same amount of time. This is called data bandwidth." So now we have an idea on one of the parts that make up the memory bus. I might as well explain the benefits of HBM. HBM is a new type of CPU/GPU memory RAM that's vertically stacked memory chips like floors on a skyscraper. In doing so, it shortens your information commute. Those towers connected to the CPU or GPU through an ultra-fast interconnect called the interposer. Several stacks of H&B are plugged into the interposer alongside a CPU or GPU, and that assembled module connects to a circuit board. Though these HBM stacks are not physically integrated with the CPU or GPU, they are so closely and quickly connected by the interposer that HBM characteristics are nearly indistinguishable from the on-chip integrated RAM. What I am gathering from this, the new memory technology HBM will be responsible for giving Vega 520GB per second of bandwidth, essentially greater than the GTX 1080 Ti, and requires less energy watts, as you can see from the graph. Has better performance in a smaller chip and less overheads, and I quote, "HBM can fit the same amount of bandwidth in 94% less space compared to GDDR5. You can actually pretty much see this from the figure as compared to GDDR5 and HBM, how it's vertically stacked, the interposer, CPU, GPU, and the rest like that. So that gives you an idea of how it's kind of gonna look like. Although this new technology possibly does add additional costs, but hey, if it gives us more performance and efficiency, then, well, count me in. Now, some of you may know about the leaks that have come out recently. For instance, this leaked video showcasing Vega. It states it's got a brain, it's got a soul, and it's almost human. And yes, people, prepare for world domination. Y'all ready for this? Okay, jokes aside. It'll feature an 8+6 pin PCIe power connector. Although an older image that was taken from CES 2017 shows the PCIe power connectors in a better detail, assuming it is the same video card. I say this because Linus Tech Tips took the picture of this Vega GPU, although this one that he took comes with some sort of adapter and a blue USB Type-B interface, which the leaks really don't show this. Also worth noticing is that the side of the Shroud features a full Radeon logo and a smaller R logo that is slightly towards the back side. Both of these logos are backlit by LED. The card will also come in dual slot design and feature a range of display connectors to power it up. The cooler shroud extends to the full length of the PCB, which is the same as the Fury X. Now, for all who are wondering what the PCB is, it's pretty much printed circuit board. So we presumably know about buttons on the actual card as well. We can see from that actual picture we've got a red and a blue, so I'm presuming from that you can change the Radeon and the actual symbol to red or blue. However, another thing I'd like to point out, the card will come in different variants. You will have possibly white, black, various editions such as limited edition reference liquid cooled design, and other vendors that will possibly have their own designs. It'll be dual slot as I've mentioned, and it'll be interesting to see what else they do. This is what I'm presuming from the leaked teaser video and the articles I've read. Let me know what you think below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Keep in mind, for now it's a bit of speculation. We'll have to wait till May/June for a release date, as sources indicate. What I believe is Vega will be a very powerful card and give its competition a run for its money. We've seen how it handles Doom at 4K 60p, even though it's been optimized for AMD, but it runs like a hot knife through butter. And Star Wars Battlefront Rogue One DLC. Again, it just smashes it at 4K 60p. What I'm glad to see although is, this means PC enthusiasts/gamers will now have the choice between Nvidia or AMD for high-end hardware. Even though AMD will be more an affordable choice, it brings back competition that we've all been waiting for, as AMD has struggled for some time, but take that with a grain of salt. A final note I'd like to mention, AMD is not the only one who's going to be utilizing HBM2. Volta as well, but it's a foggy area with no real announcement, but speculations for now. Moving on to another segment, Project Scorpio. For all who don't know, Project Scorpio is the next big thing in console gaming. As some would say, a monstrous base cable of true 4K 60p gaming, but let's not get over ourselves. Scorpio will feature an overclocked 8-core custom Jaguar CPU at 2.73 GHz, 4MB of L2 cache, 12GB of GDDR5 memory at 326GB per second bandwidth, and a 348-bit bus. 4GB will be reserved for the system UI user interface, giving developers 8GB of memory to work with for games and development, 4K ultra high definition Blu-ray player for that extra punch in detail, and 1TB 2.5-inch HDD for storage, which if you ask me, it's a little small. With the technical specifications out of the way, I would like to focus on how Project Scorpio is implementing Vega's technology. One technology they will be using is delta color compression. It's essentially, and I quote, one of the most important algorithms in delta color compression. With delta color compressions, the GPU calculates the differences between pixels in a block and stores the block as a set of reference pixels, plus the delta values from the reference. If delta values are small, then only a few bits per pixels are needed. If the packed together results of reference values plus delta values is less than half the uncompressed storage size, then delta color compression succeeds and the data is stored at half the size, so 2-to-1 compression. What I understand from this, they can halve the data in size by compression when there are pixels with similar reference values, which will allow for better performance and less overheads. Besides delta color compression, they've added DirectX 12, which is shown to increase performance and assist developers further, and I quote, according to Gusen, sorry if I've incorrectly pronounced your name, some performance optimizations from the upcoming AMD Vega architecture factor into Scorpio's engine design, but other features that made it into PS4 Pro, for example data rate FP16 processing, do not. However, customizations was extensive elsewhere. Microsoft's GPU command processor implementation of DirectX 12 has provided big wins for Xbox One developers and set its expansions on Scorpio, which to me sounds fantastic. And to give you an idea of how these different technologies could affect performance, here's an article I found on Forza 6. They mentioned trying 4K at high presets and found it was only utilizing 66% of the available resources, and I quote, Turn 10 created a specific demo that matches Forza 6 performance on Xbox One to use on Project Scorpio, and jammed as many cars as possible in a specific level. Within the stress test conditions, the game ran at 4K resolution at 60 frames per second. at only 66% CPU usage. Update, however. Lead Beta confirms that Project Scorpio can hit native 4K 60 FPS at Xbox One's high graphical preset with substantial overhead, with 66% of the GPU used. To me, sounds unbelievable. And if that wasn't enough for them, they tried Ultra, which resulted in only 88% utilization, which they commented. The crazy story here is that we've gone over our PC Ultra settings, and for everything that's GPU related, we've been able to max it. And that's where we're running at 88%. It's horrible, but we can do it and we still have power left. That just tells you how powerful the Scorpio is really gonna be. They haven't even maxed out the utilization and there's still more to go. I wonder how powerful it will be thanks to AMD's Polaris customized architecture, and some of the technology has been used in the Vega. So they've combined all of that, Polaris tech and Vega, into Scorpio. And also they've written the code to fully utilize the hardware, which consoles and other bits of hardware don't have. So as I've said before, if you have software and you have the hardware, utilize the software to use all of the hardware available. Now, I know it sounds incredible, but let's not get over ourselves and take it easy. I still want more details on Scorpio and some in-game footage to see what it can really do. Unfortunately, there isn't much more to go on. However, we should know more about Scorpio soon according to Fortune's article, which should make an appearance in the E3 of 2017. Let me know what you all think. I really like to hear all your thoughts in the comments below. Till then, well, we'll have to wait. Like what you saw? Give us a like and hit that subscribe button. Or else. Thanks for watching.